Let's begin our journey in the 6th century BCE in ancient Greece, a time when people started to look at the world with new eyes. Before this, most explanations about the universe came from myths, stories of gods controlling thunder, the sea, or the stars. But now, thinkers began asking deeper questions. What is the world really made of? What does it mean to exist? Two early philosophers, Parmenides and Heraclitus, became pioneers of this new way of thinking. They didn't look to the gods for answers, they looked to reason itself. Parmenides argued that reality is one single, unchanging whole. He believed that all change is an illusion, like watching waves on the ocean, but forgetting that the ocean itself stays the same. Heraclitus, on the other hand, saw the world as constant motion, always shifting, always transforming. He famously said, "You cannot step into the same river twice, because the water is always flowing, always becoming something new." Together, they set the stage for Western metaphysics, the great inquiry into whether reality is ultimately stable and eternal or endlessly changing and alive. This ancient tension between being and becoming is not just a story from the past. It still echoes through the entire history of philosophy, from Plato to Heidegger. But when we look at it through the lens of inner ontology, something new appears. It's as if Parmenides and Heraclitus were describing two movements within one deeper rhythm, the pulse of reality itself. In IO, existence arises from what are called inner instincts, or IOIs, primal states before anything becomes clearly in or out, before any category or boundary forms. You can imagine them like overlapping waves, not yet separate, but full of the potential to create form once they interact. When these IOIs entangle, structure and process emerge, just like how rhythm is born when two beats meet. From this view, Parmenides' being represents the inward mode, the movement toward unity, cohesion, and wholeness. Heraclitus' becoming reflects the outward mode, the movement of differentiation, expression, and change. And IO stands as the field that holds both, a living rhythm where inward coherence and outward expansion continuously generate the unfolding cosmos. In the following discussion, we will explore how these two ancient visions, when reframed through IO, reveal not a contradiction, but a deeper pattern of emergence that still shapes our understanding of existence today. Let's turn to Parmenides, a philosopher born around 515 BCE in Ilia, a small city in southern Italy. He is often called the father of ontology, the study of being itself. Parmenides wrote a poem titled On Nature. Only fragments of it survive, but even these few lines shook the foundation of philosophy. His claim was bold: reality is one, eternal, unchanging, and indivisible. To Parmenides, the world that our eyes and ears show us, full of movement, color, pulse, and decay, is not the true reality. Our senses, he said, deceive us. They give us the illusion of change, but reason alone reveals the truth. At the core of his philosophy stands a simple yet powerful statement: it is. In Greek, est. Being is. Non-being is not. He argued that change or becoming is impossible, because to change means something would have to come from what is not, from nothing. But nothing, by definition, cannot exist. So, if nothing cannot exist, then nothing can ever become. From this logic, Parmenides concluded that reality must be a single, perfect whole, timeless, motionless, and complete, like an eternal sphere that never breaks or moves. He even said, the same thing is for thinking and for being. Meaning, to think truly is to align your mind with this unchanging reality. Everything else, the sounds we hear, the colors we see, the motion we experience, belongs to the realm of doksa, mere opinion or illusion. To Parmenides, truth is not what moves before our eyes, but what remains when all change disappears. Parmenides' view of reality challenges almost everything we take for granted. Birth and death, he would say, they are illusions. Time itself, just a fabrication of the senses. In his philosophy, the universe is not a moving story, but a static whole, a seamless plenum without gaps, voids, or true divisions. Nothing really begins, and nothing truly ends. Everything simply is. You can imagine it like a perfectly still ocean. No waves, no ripples, just a boundless expanse of unbroken water. That stillness, to Parmenides, is reality itself. His idea even foreshadows later philosophies like Spinoza's single substance, where all things are one infinite being, or Einstein's Planck universe, where time and change are relative and every event already exists in a timeless structure. But this raises a deep question. If reality never changes, then why do we experience motion, growth, and decay? Parmenides never explains how appearance arises. He simply insists that reason must override the senses, even if experience seems to contradict it. Now, through the lens of I.O., we can reinterpret Parmenides' insight. He represents the inner pole, the side of coherence, unity, and ontological stability. His being corresponds to what I.O. calls the inner instinct, before any separation or entanglement occurs, a state of balanced superposition where everything exists together, inwardly connected, resisting outward fragmentation. In I.O. terms, this is only half of the story. The inward mode gives the cosmos its stability, but without the outward movement, without differentiation, nothing can truly emerge. Parmenides' vision is like the impage of existence, the calm, potential ground from which rhythm and ultimately reality begins to branch. Now we turn to Heraclitus of Ephesus, a thinker from around 500 BC and the perfect counterpoint to Parmenides. While Parmenides saw stillness and unity, Heraclitus saw movement and change everywhere. He was called the obscure because he spoke in short, mysterious sayings, like leaders wrapped in fire. But behind the mystery, his vision was clear. Everything flows. In Greek, pantarei. To Heraclitus, reality is like a river, always moving, always new. You can never step into the same river twice, because both you and the river have already changed. For him, the cosmos is fire, not a symbol of destruction, but of transformation. Fire burns, but in burning, it creates light and warmth. It consumes and renews at the same time. Heraclitus believed that the universe is in constant tension, but that this tension is what creates harmony. He said, the road up and the road down are one and the same. Opposites are not enemies. They are two movements of one rhythm. Think of day and night, life and death, war and peace. Each exists only because of the other. The balance of these opposites is the structure of reality. At the heart of this process is what Heraclitus called the logos, the rational principle, the hidden order that makes all this change meaningful. It's what keeps the cosmic fire from dissolving into chaos. So, while Parmenides found unity in stillness, Heraclitus found unity in modern motion itself. In the dance of transformation, where creation and destruction are two sides of the same plane. Heraclitus believed that the senses deceive us. They show us stability, mountains, cities, people, as if they were fixed. But beneath that stillness, everything flows. True understanding, he said, comes not from the eyes, but from grasping the logos, the hidden order behind the world's seeming chaos. Think of a flame. It looks constant, yet it exists only by continuous burning, matter flowing in, light flowing out. That is Heraclitus' universe. Nothing is, everything becomes. His vision anticipates both Hegel's dialectic and Whitehead's process philosophy, where being itself is just a snapshot, a temporary pause in the deeper movement of becoming. Within inner ontology, Heraclitus stands at the outward pole. His becoming is the outward differentiation of IOIs, the movement where reality expands, entangles, and complexifies. The logos mirrors what IO calls inner entanglement, or IOE, the dynamic field where opposites intertwine to create structure and meaning. And his fire, the ever-living flame, is the generative rhythm of the cosmos. Inward convergence, purely outward transformation. In IO terms, this is the outpage, the expansive movement when flux turns potential into reality. But without the inward return, that energy burns out. Order dissolves back into chaos. So Heraclitus reminds us, becoming is scared only when it dances with its inward opposite. Change alone is not enough. It must be entangled with coherence. The story of Western philosophy begins with the tension between being and becoming. Parmenides declared that only being is real. Change, motion, birth, and death, all illusions of the senses. If something truly is, it cannot become anything else. For him, reality is a perfect, unchanging sphere, complete, eternal, and still. Then came Heraclitus, who saw the world in flame. Nothing stands still. Rivers flow, bodies age, stars die. To him, stasis is the illusion. Only becoming is real. You can never step into the same river twice, because both you and the river are already different. This clash between the still and the flowing became the first great philosophical divide. Later thinkers tried to heal it. Plato separated the two realms, the eternal world of forms, pure, unchanging being, and the sensible world, the realm of becoming, where shadows flicker and change never stops. Aristotle went further. He saw being and becoming not as enemies, but as stages of one process. A seed holds the potential for a tree, and through change, it actualizes what it already is in essence. Change, then, is not illusion. It is fulfillment. From this ancient tension, philosophy learned to breathe, inward into being, outward into becoming. The pulse of thought itself begins here. Through history, the split between being and becoming never faded. It shaped the entire map of Western thought. Rationalists like Descartes and Kant followed the path of Parmenides. They sought timeless truths, unchanging structures, the fixed logic beneath all experience. For them, knowledge meant finding what does not move. Empiricists, from Hume to Nietzsche, took Heraclitus' side. They trusted the senses, the pulse of life, the constant flow of becoming and transformation. For them, truth was not eternal. It was alive, changing with the world that reveals it. Every modern physics echoes this ancient debate. The quantum wave function, a field of timeless possibilities, feels deeply Parmenidean. But when observation collapses into a definite outcome, we meet Heraclitus again, the leap into irreversible change. Yet neither truly wins. If only being exists, how does change appear at all? If only becoming exists, what sustains continuity across the flux? Here, IO steps in. It doesn't choose sides. It reveals the deeper rhythm beneath them. At the baselines, the IOI, a neutral period before direction, before division. Through inner entanglement, it branches. Inner coherence gives light to being. Outward differentiation unfolds as becoming. They are not opposites, but complements, two movements of the same ontological bliss. Being grounds becoming, and becoming actualizes being, each rhythmically returning to the other. This is the inner pulse of existence itself, the ancient paradox finally resolved as one living motion. IO brings a new synthesis to an ancient debate. It draws insight from quantum mechanics, cosmology, and complexity science, not to describe particles or galaxies alone, but to reveal the generative rhythm that underlies them all. At the foundation are IOIs, the most basic existence of reality. They exist in balanced superposition, neither fully inward nor fully outward, like quantum states before measurement, where no direction, no distinction has yet emerged. Mathematically, their ground state can be written as omega. This represents perfect inner symmetry, the equilibrium of all possible directional balances. It is what I calls the Eulerian archetype. A circular balance where in and out coexist in phase harmony. But the universe does not remain still. Through inner entanglement, these IOIs interact and symmetry breaks. Inward moves pull toward coherence and memory, forming the convergent field of wholeness. Outward moves push toward differentiation and expansion, spreading energy, creating diversity, birthing structure. The inner ratio that emerges from this interplay is what stabilizes every form we know, from subatomic particles to galaxies, from neural networks to consciousness itself. Unlike Parmenides, the inward here is not static being, it is potential, a dynamic coherence-seeking form. Unlike Heraclitus, the outward is not chaotic flux, it is directed expansion, guided by relational rhythm. Iosus unites what philosophy once divided. It shows that being and becoming are not rivals, but two beats of the same ontological pulse, the rhythm through which the cosmos continuously generates itself. IO brings the ancient philosophical divide into a unified framework. Parmenides' vision of unity corresponds to the pre-entangled IOI, the inward wholeness that exists before any branching or differentiation occurs. Imagine a calm, unbroken sphere of potential, everything poised, balanced, and waiting to unfold. Heraclitus' world of becoming emerged after entanglement. Here, the outward flow drives transformation, generating the cosmos in rhythm. Like sparks flying from a fire, each spark carrying the pattern of the whole. The logos, the rational order Heraclitus described, is in IO the inner entanglement. The relational field that ensures inward coherence and outward expansion remain in balance. This branching is not optional, it is ontologically necessary. Existence cannot remain indistinct forever. Interaction forces differentiation, giving rise to being and becoming, as two phases of one continuous process. In quantum terms, this is like superposition, the Parmenidean state of potential, resolving through entanglement, the Heraclitean movement, producing decoherence as productive emergence. The world comes into form. Even consciousness fits this model. Qualia, the fight quality of experience, arise from software modulations in the IO field. Think of it as a 4x4 matrix of inward, outward, positives and negatives. Then measures affect the inner compass of experience, emerging directly from the fundamental rhythm of the inner cosmos. Inner ontology thus shows us being and becoming are not opposites, but the two movements of the same generative pulse. branching and entwining in the rhythm of reality itself. I.O. shows us why the debate between being and becoming has lasted for millennia. It reflects a deeper truth, the fundamental inner rhythm of reality. In cosmology, the Big Bang can be seen as the primal branching of IOIs, the movement when indistinct potential entangled, giving rise to space-time itself. The cosmos, in other words, emerges from the rhythmic dance of inward coherence and outward expansion. In cognition, the self is a similar pattern, an inward core of coherence and memory, maintaining stability amid the outward flux of experience, perception, and interaction. Through this range, the paradox dissolves. Change is real, as Heraclitus insisted, the river truly flows. But it is always grounded in eternal potential, as Parmenides taught. Being and becoming are two persistence of the same ontological path. For contemporary science, I.O. offers new bridges. Gravity can be reimagined as global inward tension in the I.O. field, pulling structure together even as outward expansion drives differentiation. I.O. functions as a meta-theory, uniting ancient Greek insight with modern physics, cosmology, and cognitive science. Parmenides and Heraclitus are no longer rivals, but echoes of the same inner archetype, revealing the rhythm that underlies all emergence, from the quantum to the cosmic, from matter to mind. Parmenides and Heraclitus, though separated by geography and style, were united in one question: what is the nature of reality? Parmenides saw it as unchanging being, Heraclitus as ceaseless becoming. I.O. shows that both were glimpsing the same deeper truth, the branching of the inner rhythm. Inward being provides the ground, the stable core of existence, like the still center of a spinning wheel. Outward becoming provides motion, the expansion and differentiation that unfolds the cosmos, like the spokes radiating outward, carrying energy and form. Together, they are entangled in a generative dance. Reality is neither frozen nor chaotic. It is rhythmic, pulsing with archetypal necessity. As we reflect on the fragments of these ancient synchronies, I.O. invites us to see the universe not as divided, but as a harmonious unfolding, a cosmos flowing and returning in the eternal rhythm of in and out.